A lot to get to this week. First, we're going to bring in Bart and talk about the Jets parting ways with Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator position, and elevating Chris Harris to take over play calling duties. Then we're going to look at the big picture with Brian Baldinger, and finally previewing Jets Saints this weekend in the Superdome.
We beat anybody in the world, and I think we're going to win next Sunday.
Gets running loose. Can't wait.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride.
All right, Bart, your reactions on Monday morning. Aaron Glenn told reporters that he was relieving Steve Wilks from defensive coordinator duties, and he's elevating Chris Harris to the play caller for the defense.
I mean, I feel like maybe this is an opportunity to see what Chris Harris can bring to the table. I mean, he's a former player, played on some good defenses, have some opinions. You look at, played the same position as Aaron Glenn, and maybe they're more aligned philosophically about how they like to go about attacking defenses. Gives him a short period of time, but it gives him a period of time to see if he can change something, especially if he's able to come up with some good defenses. When you talk about what the opponents are going to be, you're going to have the Saints, who's playing better than anybody, that's, beat two of the best teams in their division, that's hoping to win the division. And then you have the Bills and the Patriots, teams that are fighting for the divisional title and seeding for the playoffs. So, I mean, it's an opportunity, and you have to take advantage of them whenever you get them.
All right, so Harris, if you are in that defensive meeting room as a player, what do you want to hear from him?
I mean, I want to hear that, hey, I'm going to put everybody's in a position to their strengths.
Yeah.
To what they do well. I'm not asking you to be Superman. I'm just asking you to do your job, and I'm going to make sure that it's very clear what your job is, and I expect you to perform at a high level because that's why you're brought here. And if you're not performing at a high level, then we have to find somebody that can.
The good thing about this situation, too, is that Aaron Glenn, of course, former defensive coordinator with the Detroit Lions. So he said he's going to be helping him out with the game plan during the week, but he made it clear that, hey, Harris is calling the plays, and he did it in the preseason.
Puts a lot of pressure on Aaron, right, to come up with the game plan that's more on his plate. I mean, I'm sure he felt comfortable with giving everything to Steve Wilks because it allowed him to be a head coach of the team and not just the coach of a unit.
Yeah.
You see some coaches that decide to do it. You see Todd Bowles. We see it really often on the offensive side of the ball, but that is tough. We watched Ulbrich struggle with that last year and, time management, being able to do certain things. But he felt that was the best thing, the right decision. So, we have to take him at his word because at the end of the day, this goes on his personal record, not anybody else's.
Before we get to Baldy, your thoughts on this coming matchup against the Saints? There's a couple parallels here. You got rookie quarterbacks on each side.
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck over there with the Saints, 26 years old, rookie. And then on the opposite side for the Jets, of course, Brady Cook, undrafted free agent, making his start in the National Football League. His first start last week with the Jets, becoming the first UDFA rookie to start for this franchise since 1973. And then first-year head coaches in Kellen Moore and AG, of course.
It's going to be a interesting matchup because of all the things that you mentioned, whether the coaches, the parallels between the teams and where they seemingly are. The Saints are coming off beating two of the top teams in their division. And, we thought that maybe they were going to tank for the number one pick or be in a running for the number one pick. But if they keep at this pace, they have an opportunity to maybe win 7 games. And what an accomplishment that would be for Kellen Moore. The Jets have to understand that, playing on the road in that dome, even when the Giants were coming off of playing well, they went down to New Orleans and lost as well. That is a clear home field advantage. Playing in that dome where the crowd noise and stuff can be deafening. You got a really good fan base. They're going to have to make sure, that they have to understand they have to match the intensity. Because I feel like, the Saints feel good about themselves. They've won 2 games in a row, feeling like this can be the beginning of something that can lead into next year. And Chris Olave is playing better than anybody in football right now. I really am impressed with what he's done the last couple of weeks. And even in that Panthers game, he put on a clinic. All the big plays that you put on the sheets of plays for me to look on.
Yeah, you knew they were going to try to get him the ball. They're down.
Yeah,
and then he still was able to succeed.
Yeah, and a lot of those were cover zeros, and he still found ways, and Shuck was right on point and knowing where to go with the football.
What did you think of Cook? This is 2 final ones. What did you think of Cook in his first start? After getting reps with the ones, he started 6 for 6.
Well, I thought he was fine. I thought it was some good throws. I mean, you talk about the touchdown pass at I-9 Mitchell. That was a cover zero. Great play design by motioning Isaiah Williams into the backfield, which made them try and rock and roll the corners and the safeties down. And when they released 2 to the open side, that communication both went on Brees, didn't communicate. And that's what the shifts in motion is all about, to cause indecision and also force communication pre-snap and post-snap.
You know what I really enjoyed? That Mitchell, John Mechie, Isaiah Williams, they combined for 16 catches in all. New Orleans, your favorite spot to go, and are you a beignet guy? Are you like the Hurricanes? What do you do now?
I'm cool with beignets, but I think they got a place called Mother's or something when you go get the po' boys. I think that's a famous spot that you can go down there and get some good soul food.
New Yorkers, they show out in full force. They're going to be down in New Orleans this week.
Of course. You see what it looks like outside here?
Party time, man.
Of course.
Superdome.
Of course. You better not come back with no beads. I know you had a crazy night.
Coming back with Baldy next. The Official Jets podcast is presented by Kendra Scott, the jewelry company that's shining bright and doing good. Personalize your game day look by shopping spirited styles and so much more at your local Kendra Scott store or kendrascott.com, where team spirit meets personal style. Baldy, we couldn't wait to hear from you, so we're starting early this week. We're taping Monday morning. You just got back from Kansas City. How was the snow there, buddy?
It was light. It was real light, but it was very cold. Very cold. I mean, it was probably 9 degrees at kickoff. But, the sun came out, and I don't think it affected the players or the fans. I thought, the Chargers went in there and took care of business. And so, obviously, the loss of Mahomes it's not just the loss of the Chiefs. It's a loss for the whole league when you have players like that go down.
Yeah, plenty to get to regarding the Jets. This is the Official Jets podcast, but the Jets are a member of the National Football League. What did you make of the day yesterday? You were there in Kansas City when you see Mahomes go down. That guy's a legend. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's done unprecedented things. And then you see him on the turf, and then obviously we get designation later that it sounds like he's going to be out for a long time.
Well, when I saw him needed so much help to get up, to move around. Then they had a video of him, on our cameras, going into the locker room. I mean, I knew he was hurt. But honestly, EA, it looked like just a routine tackle, the way Mahomes has been tackled for the last 8 years. It didn't look terrible. But then to find out, the torn ACL, it's devastating. We need great quarterbacks in this league for it to be a great league. And he's been the best, since he got into this business. So it's a big loss for Kansas City. They're out of the playoffs. But, like people are saying, Tom Brady tore his ACL, in the first quarter of a first game one year. And he came back and put together a legendary career. So that's what we're all expecting from Mahomes, although, it might not be until maybe the middle of next season before we see him again.
Yeah, it's something else. And then throughout the league, December games, you're always watching what happens as far as injuries are concerned. And then the Packers suffer a big one as well because Michael Parsons goes down.
He's their best defensive player, and he's the most unique player in the league. He'd already forced a fumble out of R.J. Harvey's, mitts on a 3rd and 1 play on a stop. They don't have any replacement. Nobody does. The Packers, that's a big loss. It was a loss to Denver, that set them back. But at the same time, that was their chess piece where they could really get after quarterbacks. And it's devastating. It's devastating to Green Bay. It's devastating for Mike. It was a non-contact injury on grass. You just don't expect anything like that, just change in direction. And, it just goes to show you how how fleeting all this can be for any given player at any given time.
Yeah, it's a great point because the Jets eventually want to be playing meaningful games in December and January. And, it's a great reminder of, listen, oftentimes it's not necessarily the most talented teams that win down the stretch. It's the teams that are the healthiest.
No question. No question about it. And if you just look at Denver, who won that game, I mean, the quarterback runs all the time, scrambles all the time, hadn't been nicked at all. They lost their left guard this year. And other than that, they're almost completely healthy. And so, it's one of the reasons why they've won 11 in a row is they have stayed healthy throughout the year and they gotten reinforcements back. They missed Sertan for a little while, but they've got depth at that position. Now he's back playing great football. But, it might be the healthiest teams that are standing might be the teams that, keep moving on right now as we go through December and get ready for the postseason.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Jets are in a totally different situation. Obviously, 3-11, going down to Jacksonville, and they face a Jaguars team that was really humming offensively. I want to start on the other side of the ball. Brady Cook gets the start, his first one in the National Football League. He benefited from that week of practice with the ones, becoming the first undrafted rookie quarterback for the Jets to start a game since 1973. What did you make of his performance?
I thought he was pretty good, to be honest with you. I mean, the touchdown drive on the second drive, obviously they went 3 and out. They, they missed the 4th and 1. They come back the next drive. They go 8 plays, 65 yards. He throws a touchdown pass to A.D. Mitchell. I mean, that was great quarterback play. I thought the last two interceptions, one to Lazard in the end zone and one to Smith, I don't know what the receivers are doing. I don't know what Brady is supposed to do. He's thrown it to a spot, hoping that the receivers are going to be there. Maybe that's just lack of timing, lack of trust, lack of practice, a long time. But I thought he got the ball out of his hands pretty good. The blitzes and how they sacked him a couple of times. I mean, that's just protection issues up front and seeing that. But I thought he saw the field well. I thought his arm looked good. I thought there was a lot of good things to take away from what Brady Cook did in that game.
Baldy, do you think one of his most impressive throws, and I'm going to be quite specific here, but you talked about how much you enjoyed that first scoring drive, was that third down where he's rolling out to his right and he finds Isaiah Williams for a big chuck gainer?
Yeah, it was a good play. It was a good play. I thought that, I think it was designed rollout. And then, Isaiah sat down right there, beyond the sticks. And I thought that the throw was right where it needed to be. It was a 2-receiver route. And Isaiah did what he was supposed to do on the play. He continues to impress in a lot of different ways. But I thought that was it was a big chunk play that they needed in that spot to keep that drive alive.
Baldy, Brady said after the game that was a play that worked at during practice, of course, the touchdown to Adonai Mitchell. What do you make of how decisive he was there? It wasn't like there was no hesitation. He knew where he was going to go, and he let it rip.
He did let it rip. And, look, A.D. made a great catch because it was a little bit high and a touch behind him, but he didn't have no fear of throwing that ball. They're down 14-0 right there. They need something to happen. And, that's what you have to do, though. In the red zone, you can't hesitate. You got to be decisive. You got to see it. And then you just got to let it rip, like you said. And I thought he did all those things on that. It's just a slant route from the left side. And I thought the offense line did a good job of protecting him. He had some good vision to the route. Sometimes you don't always see it. And I thought he saw it and he paid it off. And it was probably, it was one of the highlights of the day in the game where, obviously he got away from him. But offensively, I thought finishing that drive, I thought that was really important.
Isaiah Davis gets on the board there in the second half with the touchdown himself. Was the Jets' final points of the game. Really blocked well, and he showed his explosion on that touchdown.
It was his first rushing touchdown of the season, EA. It's 24 yards. Like a lot of teams, it was, if you count Andrew Beck as a tight end on that play, it's really, you've got Ruckert and you've got Jelani Woods and you've got Beck and really they blocked it perfectly. It was a great combo block with Bembo and Ruckert, to seal the end and to get to the linebacker. And Isaiah Davis, he read it on the move. And then you saw the burst, to really finish it. The line did their job to get him into the secondary. And then to beat the safety to the end zone. It did show a good burst. He was leading rusher in the game on his 9 carries. He got those first rushing touchdown, 24-yard run. It was really well done at the point of attack, and then just the overall explosion that Isaiah showed. That was pretty impressive.
Baldy, the Jets are continuing to operate without Garrett Wilson, as we know. We talked about Mitchell a little bit. It seemed like him and Brady had very good chemistry from the onset. And then were you also encouraged that, hey, Mechie got into it as well? And then how about Isaiah Williams? We talked about him a little bit already as far as that early pass catch, but this guy's a weapon. We're seeing it from special teams, but I like what the Jets are continuing trying to do with him offensively.
I agree. He's probably, just because of his size, he might be a little limited in the passing game, but regardless, he finds the opening. Whether you give it to him on a handoff or, you find him on a third down throw, he's impressed. Obviously, his return game, both punts and kickoffs, is amongst the league's best, if not the league's best right now. So I think they found a player there. Adonai Mitchell, the route he ran, EA, for, I think it was a 22-yard comeback.
Yep. The
route he ran and the timing that he had with Cook, that was a great route. That's a great route because Newsome is a good corner. To turn him completely around and come back to the ball, he's very fluid. He really he's a good route runner. And I remember that year that he came out. I would talk to our draft expert at NFL Network, Daniel Jeremiah, yesterday, and he had A.D. Mitchell as his 4th best receiver in that draft. And the way that he moves at his size, I think he can really be a pretty special player. He looked excited to be out there, regardless of the record, the score, the whole thing. He looked excited, and he looked like he's really enjoying this opportunity to kind of showcase some of his skills right now.
Man, that's awfully exciting, and it's tough because you're looking for silver linings here on this December day where it's freezing outside and the Jets lost by double digits. But there really are, if you look beyond the scoreboard here, especially offensively, you got that foundation set from left to right. What did you make of the Josh Myers extension heading into the offseason? Because now that, we'll have to see what happens with Simpson, but from left to right, you could have everybody intact.
Yeah, continuity is important. It really is important. A lot of good teams have had that this year. Denver has been pretty healthy, left to right across the board. Left guard went down. But I thought, obviously Josh Myers and Tippmann had a competition to start the season, and Josh won it with the injury to Oliver Tucker. Tippmann went to right guard, and they've kind of solidified themselves in there. But Josh has played good. The one thing that you could see now, in addition to the play up front, is I think they had one penalty the whole day.
Yeah.
I think Membu had a little false start. But other than that, that was a real issue early this year. And really, Aaron Glenn said that we're going to clean this up. And they have cleaned it up now. The penalties are few. Holding calls, free snap penalties, they've gotten that stuff cleaned up. That's an improvement. That's something you can build upon, because that's how you have to play the game. Jacksonville played a game like that. Their motion shifts very clean, and you saw the result with a hot quarterback. But, I thought we're seeing that offensively. I saw just one penalty on the offense. Maybe I missed one, EA, but there wasn't many. And so it was a pretty clean operation all day.
We say it every week, Baldy, but little margin for error for this team right now that's been decimated by injuries. You go back to Isaiah Williams. He takes that punt return to the house. He would have been the first Jet in franchise history of 3 punt returns for scores, albeit for a penalty that comes back on Trey Brown. They were doubling the gunner there, unfortunately. So the Jets have a touchdown taken off the board. You mentioned that 4th down early in the game where AG decided to go for it. Jets don't get it. Short field, and you're down by a couple scores again. So right now, the past couple weeks, the Jets have just been chasing. And again, it's tough offensively because you probably got to feel right now a lot of pressure that when you're running into a team like Jacksonville or a team like Miami who's in a groove offensively, you got to feel offensively like you got to score every time or you're going to fall behind the 8 ball.
Well, I'm sure that was, down 7-0. It's 4th and 1. It's an influence play. It's a hit or miss. Everybody runs a fly sweep. It's a hit or miss play. You're not blocking Trayvon Walker on the play. And, if he gets sucked in by the motion and the movement, maybe you run right by him. I mean, I've seen the Rams run that in the Super Bowl on 4th down, and it was the most important play in their final drive to go win that Super Bowl. Look, I don't disagree with the call, 4th and 1 right there. If you're in a playoff hunt and you're down 7-0 and your team is really good, maybe you punt that away and play field position. But, the Jets should go for that. I'd just like to see them maybe try a different way.
All right. Listen, the Jets have a ton to correct as far as mistakes on the defensive side of the ball, but can we take a second here as far as the secondary is concerned? Big picture, let's look at the landscape, Baldy. This is a team that started Brandon Stevens on the outside with Sauce Gardner in the opener. Michael Carter II was playing nickel. And then you had Andre Sisco and Tony Adams. Since then, you've traded Sauce Gardner, Michael Carter. You've had Andre Sisco be placed on injured reserve. Yesterday against the I'm dating myself. I'll just say against the Jaguars, you lost Tony Adams in game to a groin injury. You lost Isaiah Oliver in game to a knee injury. So you were playing with Malachi Moore and Dean Clark there at the safety position.
Yep.
You traded for Jarvis Brownlee, who was the guy who was stepping in for Michael Carter II. Brownlee's on injured reserve right now. So you are playing Jordan Clark there at the nickel position. At the linebacker position, I'll even go up a little bit, but my focus is a little bit more on the secondary right now. Listen, these guys are not making excuses. This is the National Football League. Everybody deals with it. I'm just saying, as far as the personnel changes for this secondary, it's been a lot.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a lot for anybody. I mean, in some ways, it almost looks like a preseason game with some of the guys that are out there. You got to really go through your roster to kind of find out, who some of the guys are. Siggers is playing, corner against.
That's right.
Brian Thomas Jr., who's an elite player.
And that's a great point, Baldy, because A.Z. Thomas is on injured reserve, too. He was another young guy you were getting a great look at.
And he was looking good and promising, too. And so, hey, look, I mean, they just got the injury bug. I played on a team one year in Indianapolis. We had 9 guys break their legs, 9 broken legs. Just everybody was in the training room. It just happens some years. And so they've gotten the injury bug. The good thing is, whether they like some of these guys or not, you're getting a look at it. The pass rush isn't good enough to overcompensate for all the losses and because so much of secondary isn't just talent. It's playing together. It's communication. Yeah. It's just knowing how to play with each other. I mean, I've talked to so many pros in this league where, a real veteran on the back end of your defense can cover for a blown assignment. They see it. They just don't. They don't have that sort of experience together to be able to do anything like that. And so, look, I mean, Travis Etienne, he beat the underneath coverage, for 3 touchdowns. And look, Quincy gets caught in a man coverage and he runs by him. I mean, that stuff is going to happen, but that's part of the issue right now with so many new guys back there. You're going to get those type of results.
Baldy, I'm really high on Malachi Moore, though. He had 10 tackles against the Dolphins. He had 9 tackles against the Jaguars. Yep. Stevens made a great play as far as that forced fumble.
I thought he was going to score on
that
fumble recovery. Yeah, I thought he was off and running.
Talk to me about Moore, because he's been just a consistent force back there. And, man, I love the way he plays, his physicality and the speed, and he just gets after people.
And like all safeties, he's very interchangeable. All good safeties right now. He can play at the line of scrimmage. He can play, in the center field. He can play in the deep path. He made a play yesterday, and he was the free safety where I think it was Jacoby Myers on a quick slant. And, man, if he doesn't come up there and make that tackle like he does in the open field, Jacoby's going to take it to the house. And he was very sure, there's a lot of space there that you've got to close quickly. You got to see it quickly. And I thought his eyes were really good. Then his tackling in the open field was good. There's a lot of good things happening out there. Obviously, the Jets have not taken the ball away, but to see that deflection by Brandon Stevens knocking that ball out and just to get his eyes on and get his hands on it right away like that was also pretty impressive. But week in, week out right now, he's been a standout on the back end of this defense.
Yeah, he really has. All right, let's take a break, and then we're going to preview Jets Saints at the Superdome. The official Jets podcast is presented by Kendra Scott, the jewelry company that's shining bright and doing good. Personalize your game day look by shopping spirited styles and so much more at your local Kendra Scott store or kendrascott.com, where team spirit meets personal style. And what do you make of this weekend's matchup between the Jets and the Saints? You're going to have two rookie quarterbacks likely going up against each other because we don't know yet. It's Monday morning, but I would assume Brady Cook still under center for the Jets. And then Tyler Shuck has been doing some impressive things there down in New Orleans.
Really impressive. I've watched all of his games. I haven't watched yesterday's victory, but the win the week before against Tampa. I mean, first of all, he's big. I met him in training camp this year. He's 6'4", 6'5", but he can really run. He can really extend plays, just much like what you saw from Trevor yesterday. He's not as big as Trevor, but he has that type of features to him. But he throws the ball very well. And Kellen Moore is a good designer of offense. He got a bunch of young backs. They got a rookie left tackle. They got a young right tackle right now. But they're moving the football. They're really moving the football, and they're playing the game with confidence. They could have easily beaten the Dolphins 3 weeks ago. They lost by a field goal at the end of that game. But, they've won 2 in a row right now. I think Shuck has played 4, and he's improved in every game he's played. Doesn't make many mistakes right now. But I believe that he's going to be a guy that they could build around. He lost the battle in preseason with him in Spencer Rattler. But honestly, when I saw him in training camp, I thought he would be the starter just because of his size, his movement, how he saw the field. He's a 25-year-old rookie. He's got a ton of college experience, and it shows when he's out there on the field right now.
So that's interesting because I know Jets fans, of course, they're looking towards April and the draft because the Jets have a lot of capital. We've talked about that a lot, and we will continue to talk about that once we get to the offseason. But the Saints right now, you're saying, hey, maybe internally they think they have their guy because you look at them, they're in that top 10 positioning. I have not looked at the draft order this morning. We just got back from Jacksonville late last night. First person I'm talking to right now, other than my family, is Brian Baldinger. But Baldy, so you look at the Saints and their ascent here late in the year. Do you think they have their guy now?
I really do. I believe it. Now, I haven't talked to Kellen Moore, about him, since the season started. I know he was very high on him when I talked to Kellen in the preseason at training camp. But I'd be shocked, honestly, the way he's playing, that they would spend a high first-round pick on a quarterback. I just would be. I think he's everything that you're looking for right now. I think he's proving it on a very young team across the board, and I think he's proving that that he could be the future. Maybe some people don't believe it, but they're not watching. I've watched every one of his games over the last 3 weeks, and he's improved each week. And I think he has all the requisite size and athletic ability that you're looking for at that position. I don't think the Saints are going to be in a position. I don't think they're going to go, regardless of what quarterbacks are there.
Yep.
I don't think that's going to be their focus.
Yeah, and that's going to have impact on the Jets potentially, obviously, when we get to April. So what's a trademark of a Kellen Moore offense? Because what we've seen in the last few weeks, Miami and Jacksonville, and then you go even back to Atlanta, some of these teams have been getting after the Jets in the run game. But you mentioned ETN yesterday. The running back was really effective out of the backfield in as far as pass catching, ETN. He's so explosive. So how do you think Moore is going to try to attack the Jets defense?
Well, I mean, going back to his, winning the Super Bowl with the Eagles last year, I mean, he's going to feature the run, and he is in New Orleans. I mean, they're going to find ways to run the football. Very creative in the run game. A lot of young guys that people guys that people don't really know much about. The fullbacks are going to get carries. A lot of different receivers will get carries. You'll see Olave with some fly sweeps. But regardless, that's going to be the foundation. It's not going to be just shotgun and drop back. They're going to be under center. They're going to be play action passes to take their shots down the field. But it's it is a very specific. It's a very West Coast principled offense,
right?
Where the ball gets out quick. A lot of quick throws, just reading triangles. Coverage dictates where the ball goes, and he's asking his quarterback to make very quick reads in progressions. And Chuck has proven that he's capable of doing that, within 2 seconds of getting the ball. I think pre-snap reads and indicators with motions that are going to indicate, what the coverage might be. And then the quarterback, once the ball is snapped, to know where to go with the ball.
Does Breece Hall reach 1,000 for the first time in his career this weekend in New Orleans? I got to get the official tally for you, Baldy, but I think he's like at about 902 or 903 right now.
This is a pretty good run defense.
Okay.
They play a 3-4. You've got Chase Young and Cam Jordan right now, stand-up outside linebackers, probably the biggest set of outside linebackers in the league. And then they just got a bunch of big dogs inside. They're going to challenge. They'll challenge Breece.
So Breece is right at 100, Baldy, and you got Demario Davis there as well, the old mainstay man. He's had an incredible career.
Unbelievable. He still leads them in tackles. I mean, every single year. He looks ageless. Like he just enjoys playing. Obviously, you know him from the Jets and his time here, but I mean, he still knows how to find the football, and they protect him really well to go make those tackles.
If Cook is the guy, what do you want to see from him at the Dome?
I thought Brady played better than I thought I would see him. I'm not the interceptions. Like I said, I don't think 2 of them are his fault. I just want to see growth. I mean, Tyler Shuck got a chance to play, I think 4 weeks ago was his first game, and he's improved every week. You just want to see improvement. The touchdown throw to A.D. Mitchell was really good. Yeah, his movement was pretty good. Like, I'd like to see him continue on that arc. If he threw 1 touchdown pass last week, let's see him throw 2 in the Dome this week. He played in the SEC now. Now, I saw him in the Hula Bowl. I wasn't impressed overly because of his size. I didn't think he had the type of size you're looking for, but, we also know that that's not the only indicator of what a quarterback's going to be. I like my quarterbacks bigger, but he played in the SEC, and he played, he was throwing passes to Luther Burden, who was a star for Chicago yesterday. Membu was his right tackle.
Yep.
Like, he's used to seeing guys that are NFL players. And so he went down to LSU and played. He's played games in the Dome before. Like, I think this is not going to be too big. It's going to be crowd noise is always a factor. It's a holiday season. The Saints have won a couple of games. They're playing the spoiler right now. I played down there on Christmas Eve when they had nothing to play for, and the place was packed and it was rocking.
Yeah.
They're going to go in there to party and to see if they can get a 3rd straight win. And so I'm feeling like they feel very confident about this. This would be a great opportunity to go in there and stop the holiday partying that the Saints are having right now.
Yeah, and then maybe the Jets can have a couple hurricanes on the way out, huh, Baldy?
Yeah. Stop at O'Brien's and get yourself one for the road.
Hey, brother. Monday is a big film room day for you, so we appreciate you taping the pod. Real quickly, just give people some insight of what your day looks like. Because you got back from Kansas City at what time? And then,
well, I got back from Kansas City at 2 a.m, and there was 8 inches of snow in my driveway. So I had to shovel my driveway just to get my car in the driveway. So I went to bed at 3 and I got up at 6, and I was here at 7 watching your game. And so I'm going to try to get through. I try to watch every game in its entirety between Monday and Tuesday. So I hope to get to six more games here today, and then I'll do the rest tomorrow.
All right, brother. Well, we're going to have you join Bart Scott next week.
Okay. You got it, EA.
Thanks, buddy.